All right, my audience today is Barbara Mathis, Roberta Ballinger, and Kathy Ballinger. Have you ever thought to yourself, ugh, another Monday. Really wish I didn't have to go to work today. There just has to be something else out there for me. If so, you're like me. I've been at the same job for almost 10 years, and although I don't hate the job, I just always thought that, there was something else out there that would leave me feeling more fulfilled. I think we can all relate to this because, at the end of the day, we all just want to do something that, for a living that we're really passionate about. So my park pass, forgot where it was. My object is a South Carolina State Park Pass. This pass represents my past, present, and future. It represents my past because I grew, as a kid, I grew a love for nature. It represents my present because I've recently decided to change careers and become a park ranger. And my future because I hope to one day get a job as a park ranger in either a national or a state park. So I grew up in Spartanburg, South Carolina, on a lake called Lake Cooley, and growing up on a lake just was pretty much ideal for a kid because, if I wasn't swimming or, riding on the boat, we were playing in the woods and just really spent most of my time out in nature, and it really, helped me develop a strong love for nature. My parents also instilled a love for nature in me by always taking my brother and I camping. So we camped probably 2 to 3 times every year, and camping was just something my brother and I really looked forward to, and probably was one of our favorite things that we did as a family was camping. So that was another thing that instilled a love of nature. Also, just being outside itself I always found relaxing to me because, no matter what was going on inside your house, whether it's arguing or whatever, I could always go outside and just really clear my head and just relax. So I think that was a big reason. So now that you've learned a little bit of how I developed a love for nature, let me tell you a little bit about why I decided to change careers and become a park ranger. So about 7 years ago, I started trail running, and before that, I really wasn't getting out in nature as much as I had before when I was younger. And so while I was trail running, it really just rekindled all of the love that I've had for the outdoors and just being outside and smelling the fresh air and all that. So I did most of my runs out at Croft State Park, which is a local state park in Spartanburg. And there's about 40 to 50 miles of trails out there, and I've probably run every single one of them hundreds of times at this point. And I really fell in love with the state park and all that it had to offer. So I found myself telling everybody I knew, just like, you got to get out to Croft State Park, you got to get out to Croft, you got to go on this trail, you got to go on that trail. And just, everybody I met, I was pretty much telling about Croft like they had never heard of it, even though they all grew up in Spartanburg too, so they probably had heard about it. But I kind of thought to myself, I wonder if this is something I can do as a career. And that got me thinking, oh, well, why don't I become a park ranger? So now that so now that I've told you kind of how I decided to start on a new career, let me tell you about some of my future goals. So like I said before, I want to become a park ranger. But first, I have to go back to school and get a degree. So I was not aware that to become a park ranger, you needed a 4-year degree, but apparently you do. That's news to me. So I'm currently enrolled in Spartanburg Community College, and I hope to eventually transfer to a 4-year university where I'll get a bachelor degree, and hopefully somewhere like Appalachian State is where I'm looking to go. Next, I'll hopefully get a job as a park ranger in either a national or a state park, either one. Doesn't matter to me. I just want to go wherever the opportunity presents itself. And that kind of leads into the next thing. I've lived in Spartanburg my whole life, so really would be a cool thing for me to live somewhere new. So like somewhere new and exciting, whether it's the coast or the mountains, preferably the mountains, but like I said, wherever the opportunity presents itself is kind of where I'm going to go. And then the last thing just kind of ties in with everything. I want to love what I do. So the whole reason to go back to school and be a park ranger is just so, I want to go to work and just be like, man, I'm really, love what I do. I'm really glad that I'm at work. So, which is not something that I've ever really been able to say. So yeah, I've told you a little bit about, growing up and developing a love for nature. Talked to you about how I decided to change careers and become a ranger, and just told you a little bit about my future plans. So that is why I chose the Park Pass to represent my past, present, and future. So if you find yourself thinking, like I did, there's got to be something more out there for me. Just, remember, just think about what you really love and follow your heart, and you can't go wrong.